Everyone, and welcome to this lesson. Before I continue with the topic that we are going to talk about in this lesson, I quickly want to brush up on some of the things that we've been talking about in the previous lessons, especially when we start talking about JavaScript arrays. We've been able to see that in arrays, there are different methods and properties that you can use to work with your elements in order to get a desired result or output in your program or in whatever script that you are working with in your code. And over a couple of lessons, we began to examine each of these methods and properties one after the other to see how they manipulate array elements and produce an output that suits the needs of a developer needs or whatever means you are trying to use it for to achieve at the end of the day. And so in the last lesson, we talked about the automatic to string method, a method that is internally useful in JavaScript and that is handled automatically by arrays in JavaScript. We were able to see how this works using the toString method in order to split your array element with that the comma notation that we saw in that lesson. And moving away from there, we are going to be looking at another very important method in JavaScript array, which is the LastIndexOf method. Remember that we've talked about the indexOf method earlier. So we are now going to talk about LastIndex method in this video. And you can see from what I have right here on my screen that reads like this. Array.LastIndexOf method is the same as array.indexOf method, but returns the position of the last occurrence of the specified elements. Even without explanation yet, I want to believe you already understand what this means. So this is just the opposite of the indexOf method that we've talked about. And what it does, and the difference between the two is that the indexOf method returns the first occurrence of the specified element, but the LastIndexOf, just as the name suggests, return the last occurrence of the specified element, as we are going to be seeing in this particular lesson. And if you look at the syntax for it, you will see that this is just array, which means this can represent whatever it is that you want to apply this method on. It could be fruit, it could be an array of the city, an array of numbers, or whatever. And then when you pass in this method, which is the LastIndexOf, and you give it an item where you want that method to be applied, and it starts position if it is available. And so out of these things, these two things that we have here as parameters or data that can be passed in for this method, one very important key thing to know is that only the item is required, which is the item to search for. So what kind of item are you searching for? Whether you have an array of cities or array of numbers or array of fruit or array of cars, or just it could be anything. It could be an array of anything that you want to use the LastIndexOf method to get the last occurrence of the specified element. What is most important in the data or in the prompt that needs to be passed in is the item that is required. The item to search for is required, which is what you can see right here inside this bracket. Now, the start is optional, which means the position of where you want the searching to start, it's optional. Where to start the search is optional. Negative values will start at the given position, counting from the end, and search to the beginning. So if you give a negative value, it will start counting at the given position and count from the start counting from the end, and then search whatever words that you are looking for, search it back to the beginning. So for a quick and better understanding of this, let's take a look at an example in my code editor. So here's my code editor, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to make an array of maybe cars. I'll do this. Sorry, that's not it. It's square brackets, not curly braces. So now I can now begin to pass in my array elements for one day. Tesla Can do Toyota, can do Kia. You already know that you can have as many elements inside your array as possible. And so now I want to apply the last index method on this particular cars array that I have. So what I will do is just to I want to make another variable and say let position, which is what I want to search for, equals to cars dot last index of method. So what do I want to search for? Right here in the code. Okay, I want to search for maybe, let me say Ford. And it has to be passed in with the quotation mark, document dot get element by id demo1 dot inner html equals Ford position is found in position plus my variable that I made, position. So for clarity, I think you can see this now. Okay, I'll take this down so that we can get away with this issue of contaminated literal. So now look at what I'm getting. Ford position is found in position 1, which is very correct, but let me put a space actually here so that it can be distinct. Now, Ford position is found in position 1, and if you take a look at our array, for example, if you check it, under is position 0 and Ford is in position 1. So if I change the value I want to search for here, if I change it to Tesla, you will definitely see that the position will change. Now, what if I have Tesla twice, like this way? What happens? Now, you will see what? You will see that it's picking the last occurrence, which means that it will ignore this first one and will pick the last occurrence, which is in position 4. And that is how the last index of method works in JavaScript when working with array. And you can see the similarities between it and index of, only that the difference between them is that this will pick the position of the last occurrence of the specified element. And just as you can see right here, that I have 2 Tesla and it ignores the first one and pick the last occurrence of the name of that car. Thank you, and in the next video I'll see you.